Today, we're diving into a 500-year-old idea that tackles a huge question. Where does our sense of good actually come from? And we've got the brilliant Ming Dynasty philosopher Wang Yangming to thank for it. What's wild is that this whole philosophy starts not with some grand declaration, but with a single, really honest doubt.
So just think about it for a second. Where does morality, that sense of right and wrong, really come from? Is it something we have to go out and learn from books, from society, from a set of rules? Or is it more like a compass we're all born with, something that's already inside our own minds? This very question is what kicks off one of the most game-changing ideas in all of Chinese philosophy.
And what's so cool is that this whole profound concept doesn't come from some dry academic paper. Nope. It all happens during a conversation between a really thoughtful student, a guy named Xu Ai, and his teacher, the master himself, Wang Yangming. And it all begins with a very fair, very reasonable question. So Xu Ai hears his teacher talking about morality being internal, and you can just picture him scratching his head. He basically says, hang on a second, to say that everything we need to be good is already in our own minds? I don't know, the world is a pretty complicated place. Are you sure that's enough? It's a great point.
And to back it up, Xu Ai gets specific. He starts listing things out. You know, the respect you're supposed to show your father, the loyalty you owe your leader, being a trustworthy friend, caring for the people in your community. He's thinking, surely these are rules that exist out in the world, things we have to learn from the outside. It's a totally logical argument, but this is where Wang Yangming drops the philosophical bombshell. He replies with his core teaching summed up in 3 powerful words.心即理, mind is principle. Now, you have to realize how radical this was. The mainstream philosophy back then was all about studying the external world to find moral principles. Wang just flips that script completely. He says the principle isn't out there, it's in here. But here's the catch. It's your mind in its original, pure state, when it isn't clouded up by selfish desires. That pure mind is the ultimate moral law. It's not something you have to find, it's something you have to uncover. So this really sets up 2 totally different ways of looking at things. You've got the traditional view, the external search. It's like a scavenger hunt for rules on how to be a good person. Then you have Wang Yangming's idea, the internal discovery. The real work isn't about adding more knowledge from the outside, it's about doing some deep cleaning on the inside to let your natural goodness shine through. Okay, so how do you actually do that? The method is captured in this phrase, 去人于存天理. Let's break it down. 去人于means to get rid of selfish human desires, all that ego, the greed, the me-first attitude. And 存天理means to preserve the heavenly principle. So the effort isn't about memorizing rules. It's about looking inward, finding all that selfish static, and turning the volume down so you can finally hear the moral compass that's been there the whole time.
Xu Ai is having a light bulb moment here, but he's a practical guy, and he's still stuck on the details. He asks, okay, I get the big picture, but what about the nitty-gritty, the specific ways to be good, like how to properly care for your parents in the winter versus the summer? Don't we still have to go out and study those things? It's a great question. How does this huge idea actually play out in everyday life? And this is where you see the genius of a great teacher at work. Instead of launching into another complicated lecture, Wang Yangming gives a simple, but absolutely brilliant analogy that makes it all click. He uses the image of a tree. He explains it like this. Think of your sincere, loving heart, that genuine feeling of filial piety, as the root of a tree. That's the internal foundation. Then all the specific actions, making sure your parents are warm in winter and cool in summer, all those rituals, those are the branches and leaves. They're just the natural, visible expression of what's happening underground at the root. And then he delivers the knockout punch. He says, you must have the root first, and then the branches and leaves will grow. I mean, it's just common sense, right? You would never go around collecting a pile of leaves and then try to find a root to glue them onto. It's backward. The inner sincerity, the root, has to come first. And to really seal the deal, he quotes an ancient classic, the Li Ji. It basically says that a son who has deep love, there it is, the root, will naturally have all the right outward behaviors, a harmonious spirit, a kind look on his face, a gentle way about him. The outside stuff is just an inevitable symptom of what's on the inside.
So what's the big takeaway from all this? It's simple, but it is so profound. True moral growth isn't about memorizing a giant checklist of external rules, just collecting leaves. It's about tending to the root. It's about the daily, diligent work of purifying your own mind and cultivating that sincerity. If you get the root right, the right actions will follow.
And just like that, this 500-year-old idea becomes a really direct and personal question for all of us. If Wang Yangming is right, if your mind truly is the source of moral principle, then the most important work you'll ever do is right there, inside your own head. So it leaves us with one final thought. What kind of roots are you tending to?